The Singapore FinTech Festival is back for its 8th edition with a focus on the growth and adoption of artificial intelligence in financial services. The Singapore FinTech Festival will take place from November 15 to 17 at the Singapore Expo. SFF will bring together the global FinTech community to engage, connect, and collaborate on issues relating to the development of financial services, public policy, and technology. Here to talk to us more about this year's edition of the Singapore FinTech Festival and all the exciting events lined up, we have with us on the program Pat Patel, Executive Director at Elevandi. He's joining us live via Zoom from Singapore. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Diego. It's a pleasure to be on this show. I'm a big fan of the Philippines, and certainly the fintech scene in Manila as well is doing really well.
Well, that's great to hear, sir. But let's get right to it. The Elevandi Insights Forum on November 14 is going to be SFS curtain raiser. Now, could you share with us, sir, an overview of this year's Elevandi Insights and what it entails?
It's a very good question. And so the Insights Forum is a gathering, invite only, for 1,000 people on the public sector side, so policymakers, regulators, senior leaders from financial services and technologists. And so we curate a program that will focus on how do we move forward and address some of the challenges that we're seeing in financial services. And so whether it's the advent of new technologies, whether it's funding, how do we start to bring more capital into financial services and support the startups as well?
Okay.
And so there is a number of roundtables that we're partnering with some really prestigious organizations like the IMF will be involved, the World Bank, MAS, a number of central banks, including the Central Bank in the Philippines, as well as kind of organizations such as the Gates Foundation that will be running these roundtables that will bring together smaller audiences to really discuss and debate the future of financial services. So we're really excited about this program because this is where change really happens, because if you bring the brightest minds together from these different industry sectors, you have the chance to frame what is going to happen in 2024, but 2024 and beyond.
That's right. Now, could you tell us more about SFF? Now, what is this year's central theme? And could you tell us a bit about the 4 key sub-themes, as well as how they will shape the conversations at the SFF?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, one of the key things about the festival is that nexus, that intersection of where policy meets finance, meets technology. And we see these 3 communities as being crucial to driving the future of financial services. And so we've outlined a series of kind of thematics that we believe are core to the future. One is around re-architecting the future, the financial services system, because as everyone knows, there is about 1.4 billion that are unbanked around the world today, and there are countless others that are underbanked. And so there is a strong need for people to come together and really think about how do we make the financial system fairer and more equitable for everyone, not just the haves, but also the have-nots. And so that will be a key dialogue where we'll be discussing how we can leverage technology such as stable coins, such as artificial intelligence, to really address some of the inequalities that we're seeing. The second area is around the risks. And, there's been a lot of news here today, as you can see on the TV, that there are many risks, whether it's technological risks, economical risks, whether it's kind of climate-based risks. And so we'll be talking quite a lot around how do we come together as an industry. And it's those 3 kind of communities of policy, finance, and technology to try and solve some of these challenges in terms of the risks. The third area is a very important one and personally very precious to myself, which is around talent and entrepreneurship, because there's been a big challenge, certainly during and since COVID, that has impacted talent, the next wave of entrepreneurs, and also kind of changed a lot of the dynamic around what the future of work will look like. And so we're going to be covering a lot of topics and partnerships with universities as well to support that next wave. We'll be supporting in entrepreneurship through opportunities to receive funding, which is going to be a key program, but also understanding that what will that future of work look like? What skills do people need to be able to future-proof their careers? And then the last area, which is quite a significant one, is around AI. There's been a
Okay.
lot of talk around artificial intelligence, certainly since the rise of generative AI. And so we're going to have a discussion around some of the concerns, some of the security and ethical concerns, but also how do we as a community leverage this wonderful technology for good? And so that will be a dialogue that will run through multiple stages. And, we're super excited to be part of this dialogue to try and shape the future of financial services for good.
And what are some of the other highlights the attendees can look forward to at this year's SFF? Could you give us a sneak peek into the various zones? And aside from what you've mentioned, what else will they offer?
Sure. One thing I would definitely like to mention is that we have recently confirmed His Excellency, the President of Philippines, so Mr. Marcos.
Yes.
And so he will be streaming into the festival via a hologram. And that just goes to show not just how innovative the Singapore FinTech Festival is, but how innovative the Philippines community is as well. And so he's currently in the US, and so he'll be streaming in via a hologram to give a special address around not just the Philippine community, the Philippines financial and economic community, but also the state of play across Southeast Asia. In addition to kind of leaders such as the president, we also have the president of the World Bank coming in person. We have the managing director of the IMF. She'll be coming, Kristalina. And so it's having these types of individuals that really sets apart the FinTech Festival, because the type of dialogue that we'll be having will really seek to kind of shape and address those challenges I mentioned around, an equal and transparent financial system for everyone. And so that is kind of a really key part of the content. In terms of the zones, so we're expecting, last year we had 62,000 people attend. We're expecting a similar type of number coming into the FinTech Festival, with about 10,000 attending companies. And so what we're seeing for this year is that we are curating the experience. So there'll be a technology zone for those that are focused on AI or digital assets, or even cloud computing. We'll have a founder zone for those that are focused around entrepreneurship and also seeking investment. We'll have an ESG zone as well, which will be heavily focused around how do we move forward and address some of the challenges that we're seeing in terms of sustainability, because for now it's an imperative as a community that we start to change our mindset and think more longer term around saving the planet and ensuring that organizations' footprints are in line with trying to meet some of the standards that the UN goals have set itself. We also have a regulation zone. I think it just come up on the screen there. And that will look to kind of really discuss different roadmaps and policy thinking and how we're looking to adopt technologies in different jurisdictions. And so this will be an opportunity for delegates to come in and have a conversation with the regulator in an open and safe environment to really start to build that conversation and to advance financial services. And then the last area, and I alluded to that earlier, was around talent. And so we're partnering with universities, we're partnering with a number of academics as well to really provide content that will support students, support entrepreneurs, but also those that are looking to upskill and reskill, because it's really challenging times as we can see in economies around the world. And so the festival is aimed at really pushing forward the boundaries of what we currently know in financial services, but also making sure that we're inclusive to everyone.
This really sounds like this is going to be a huge conference. Now, aside from President Marcos and other leaders you've mentioned, who are some of your headline speakers and who can attendees look forward to hearing from?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a whole raft of founders and CEOs. So we have Mr. Eric Jing, who is the CEO of Ant Group. He'll be coming in. It will be his first kind of talk outside of China, I think in about 3 or 4 years. We have people like Bill Winters, so the CEO of Standard Chartered. He'll be coming in. We have senior leaders from some of the key banks across the region. So Union Bank will be there in full force. We have a number of Japanese banks as well, and we'll be heavily represented with the bank CEOs in Singapore as well as in India as well. And so that's kind of the financial services leaders. We have a number of leaders from Google, from Microsoft, from IBM as well, because they are really driving some of the the advancements in technology. And so that's how we kind of see the program running, as well as a series of founders as well from multiple different jurisdictions that are unicorns or the next wave of talented founders that will be the unicorns of tomorrow as well. So we're really excited with this depth of program and a diversity of speakers, because that really adds to the thinking in the industry.
Definitely lots of exciting discussions to look forward to. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Pat Patel, Executive Director at Elevandi.
Thank you for your time.